Live. Here we go. All right, looks like we're live on YouTube and we are live on Twitter. Very good. Okay, welcome everybody. We'll stop the walking here. So in today's video, we're going to be covering how to protect your neck from how to protect your vagus nerve from damage. We're going to cover multiple ways that your vagus nerve can get damaged and how to take action now to prevent long-term, potentially life-threatening injuries to your vagus nerve. Trust me, you do not want your vagus nerve to get damaged. And if it is damaged, it's more sensitive to damage and you're more likely to have more damage to your vagus nerve if you don't take precautions now. So oftentimes being warned what can cause issues is enough to help you protect your neck. So before we do that, though, we're going to do our simultaneous squeeze. So follow my lead. We're going to do a breathing practice. Hold and exhale. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Sip of air at the top. Hold and squeeze. And slowly exhale. Very good. Okay. I don't want to pass out, so I'm trying to do that lightly. So cool. All right. So let's talk about it. Today we're going to talk about the vagus nerve, which is also known as your wandering nerve. It is a crucial component of our vagus nerve system. It plays a vital role, the vagus nerve, in regulating various bodily functions, including your digestion, your heart rate, and even your mood. So you would understand then that protecting your vagus nerve from damage probably is a pretty important thing to do. Awesome. Hey, good to see you, Natalie. Good. Let's connect later for sure. So however, many people are unaware of the importance of protection of the vagus nerve. It is an essential nerve. And in this video, we're going to explore some effective ways to help safeguard your vagus nerve and promote overall well-being. Keeping your vagus nerve healthy is a pretty good idea. If you learn anything from this group, that this group even exists, that there's now 25,000 members, should indicate to you that if you don't have a problem with your vagus nerve, that other people probably are at a pretty high degree, and it's not fun, right? Because I believe that ultimately what people would rather likely be doing at this time of the day is probably watching TikTok. I mean, who the hell wants to watch some guy wearing a Nike t-shirt and wearing a hat on Facebook Live on a Sunday night, right? So clearly there's a pain point there that exists. So let's talk about the first place that I think is super important when it comes to your neck. Well, protecting your vagus nerve is your neck. So in your neck, right? See, and some people are like, oh yeah, I should be watching TikTok. Fuck this. Okay, cool. Goodbye. So one of the primary ways to protect your vagus nerve is by strengthening the muscles around your neck. This works in such an incredible way, and I'm going to explain why. So we all know that having poor posture is bad. Having weak muscles in your neck can put unnecessary pressure on your vagus nerve. And this can lead to vagus nerve damage. Constantly compressing your vagus nerve in your neck can lead to muscle and nerve damage, and that can really affect everything. So incorporating exercises that can target the neck muscles, such as neck stretches and isometric exercises, as well as resistance, exercises with the red ball neck strengthening, even the iron neck head strengthening and neck strengthening system, can alleviate tension and reduce the risk of nerve compression. This is really, really crucial. So when you strengthen the muscles in your neck, you make the muscles stronger, and oftentimes you help them stay more rigid, okay? Rigidity of muscles in your neck is a good thing. Think about it. If you do trip and fall, if you fall over, if you trip on something, if you're in a car accident, the one thing that you do want is more cushioning between your vertebrae, because if you have weak muscles in your neck, the only thing that exists essentially is vertebrae, which are hard, sharp bones, and the nerves that come out of it. They're called facets. And your spinal outlet is contained within a bunch of bones. So you have your vertebrae, your bone, and these can squeeze and open like an accordion. And then in between each one of those vertebrae are a collection of nerves that control your arms, your diaphragm, your heart, upper body stuff in your neck. So if you are in a car accident and you have some kind of a neck movement like this, all those bones will collapse and squeeze and pinch, and in some cases lacerate or compress or even cut some of the nerves in your neck. You can do damage to a nerve just by pinching it with tweezers. This is often what they do in research. When researchers in academic universities are studying nerve damage, they're really going to take a pair of pliers and just squeeze the nerve and then let go. And by crunching on the nerve, you're going to hear it crunch and crackle and pop. Like that. You're going to hear like almost like little fiber cables cracking. That can happen to the nerves in your neck. The thing that you want to be doing for neck strengthening is going to be to strengthen the muscles in your neck, because if you have weak muscles, it's really just bone, vertebrae, squeezing, pinching, compressing the neurons and nerves that go through your neck. And that's going to cause lasting long-term damage. So how best to protect your neck? One option is to wear a neck brace everywhere you go, okay? One option, which I don't recommend, is to go to Walgreens and wear a big foam neck brace and wear that everywhere you go, because that at least can provide protection. That will make your neck muscles way weaker, and you'll be dependent on that for the rest of your life. However, if you strengthen the muscles in your neck, then you're going to find that you have inherent, built-in muscle protection in your neck. It's like wearing a cushion. It will make your neck less flexible, and it will make your neck less flexible in a good way because it's coming from your muscles, not from joint stiffness, right? So you want to strengthen the muscles in your neck. It's really important. It will protect you. This is one of the best ways to protect your vagus nerve as well, because your vagus nerve runs through bone, muscle, and fat, and also veins, blood flow. And if you have stronger muscles in your neck, you can protect your neck and vertebrae and nerves from compression damage. So you should definitely be strengthening your neck. I'm going to post here in the chat a little link to a free guide we provide often. It's called the Red Ball Neck Strengthening PDF. And this is a fantastic and free guide. You click on it, you open it, you print it off your computer, and you can actually get instructions on how to strengthen the muscles in your neck with nothing more than a red inflatable dodgeball, something that's 9 to 10 inches in diameter. You press this against a wall and you press your head into it. It'll activate those muscles, and you'll have a stronger muscle. You'll have stronger neck musculature than most people will ever have in their entire lives, unless they're a professional athlete. And I believe that all of us need to have that kind of protection, because like I said, you'll never know when the next car accident's going to happen. It's coming up to winter time here across the country. A patch of ice, you slip, you fall, you will potentially crunch your vagus nerve through your atlas bone. So super important that you protect your vagus nerve in that way particularly. So hope that's helpful. Always a good reminder to be reminded to strengthen your neck muscles. All right, so next one. Eating omega-3 oils for nerve health. Your vagus nerve also has its own form of sheath, a protective sheath that wraps around the vagus nerve called the myelin sheath. And there's lots of these little pockets around your vagus nerve that are containing a nice omega-3 fatty acid. Omega-3 fatty acids are renowned for their numerous health benefits, including promoting brain function and reducing inflammation. These essential fats are also beneficial for maintaining the health of your vagus nerve. Foods rich in omega-3 oils, such as fatty fish, which are salmon, mackerel, and sardines, flax seeds, and walnuts, can and should be incorporated into your diet regularly. Of course, follow your own dietary recommendations. If you're like, oh, but I can't eat walnuts. Okay, then don't eat walnuts. I didn't say you had to eat walnuts. I said it's an option. Okay? Guys, come on. Right? So some of these items can and should be incorporated into your diet. Also, you can take omega-3 supplements after consulting with a healthcare professional if you would like. Avocado, salmon, fatty fish oils in like cod oil from other kinds of brands. Like I think Nordic Naturals is a good brand. They sell a nice like oil that you can buy in pills or by itself. You can drink that raw. You can pour it into a smoothie. All kinds of things could work for you. Okay. So yeah, eating these fats to protect the health of your neurons, really good idea. Okay. Next one, third and final strategy that we're going to share to help you protect your vagus nerve. This one is called reducing stress to protect your vagus nerve. So chronic stress, as we all know, can have detrimental effects on our overall health, including the health of our vagus nerve. And here's why. When we experience stress, our bodies release cortisol. Have you guys heard of cortisol? Nod your head up and down if you've heard of cortisol. Okay? We've all heard of cortisol. Really bad stuff. Cortisol is a hormone that can act as a neurotoxin when present in excess amounts. This is true. Cortisol can potentially damage the vagus nerve, leading to various health issues. I mean, we're not even going to go into all the downstream side effects of vagus nerve damage. Can you just take my word for it on this once, that if your vagus nerve gets damaged, a lot of bad things can happen, okay? So do everything you can to not let your vagus nerve get damaged. I would prefer, again, it's like if you fall down and you're falling, there's two ways to stop a fall, okay? Two ways. Let's say you're falling down. One way is to put out your hand and your arm and use your hand and your arm to stop you from falling. You might break your hand. You might break your arm. Okay? So that's one way to stop a fall. Another way to stop a fall, put your hands to your side and just fall straight with your face. The risk for stopping a fall with your face and your head is you might bust your skull open. You might have hemorrhaging. You might have traumatic brain injury. So not as preferable, right? So you certainly preferably would like to stop a fall with your hands rather than with your face. So, up to you. But when we're talking about stress reduction, right? So cortisol can damage the vagus nerve, which leads to various health issues, right? So essentially, if you're thinking about life and stress, the main thing you have to avoid getting damaged is your vagus nerve. It would be far better, again, to stop the fall with something else than anything that harms the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve should be protected. Just like if you're falling down, you should put out your hands to protect yourself from a fall, in risking your hands and your wrists and your arm getting broken, rather than letting your face plant into the ground. Okay? So there are strategies that you can take to protect the vagus nerve. Okay? And that should be done. So when we're talking about stress hormones and cortisol, it is crucial to find effective stress management techniques to reduce cortisol levels and to protect the nerve. Some effective stress-reducing practices include meditation, deep breathing exercises, regular physical activity, and engaging in hobbies or activities that bring joy. Okay? So I think that that should be paramount, reducing chronic stress. Now, here's the thing. One thing that I think must be mentioned here is Some of you watching may have learned to resort to benzodiazepines and Xanax to manage your stress, thinking that if I don't have the physical, if I don't have this, if I can chemically block the psychological effects of stress, that's good. But when you take something like benzodiazepines and you're like, oh, they make me so calm, you're basically allowing the stress to punch your vagus nerve, but not your brain. And, well, not your conscious mind. It's still punching your nervous system. Because what I've seen is that after 5, 10, 15 years of resorting to Xanax, is that the kind of person that's left over on the other end of that lack of resilience to stress is a shell of the person that came before. So if you're dependent on Xanax, you need to take, like, honestly, somebody's going to probably misquote me on this. If it were me, if it were my mom, I would go and find the Xanax and flush it down the toilet. That stuff is so crap, okay? It's such garbage, right? You're like, oh no, but it helps. It's like, yeah, but here's the thing. Guys, I'm sure that if someone's stressing out and they're in a trailer park in West Virginia, they're also going to be like, no, but you don't understand. The OxyContin pills with heroin in it also help me with my stress. It's like, yeah, we understand the mechanism of how these work. I understand that they're helping you with their stress. But do you understand that these chemicals have long-term effects that are really, really bad? Okay. So when it comes to managing stress, you have to do things that are non-drug related. You really have to. Or maybe smoke pot. I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people smoke pot and that seems to help them. I don't really know. It's hard. I get it. It's hard. Okay. But Xanax, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's a pathetic drug. You shouldn't do it. But yeah, basically here's what I'm saying is that if you allow cortisol to flood through your body, it can cause some seriously major problems for you overall. You do not want to mess with cortisol. All right, so in conclusion, in protecting your vagus nerve, it is essential to maintain optimal health and well-being, obviously. Your vagus nerve allows you to have a good life. By incorporating these strategies of protecting your neck through strengthening, eating omega-3 oils for vagus nerve health and insulation from further damage, and reducing your cortisol stress to protect your vagus nerve, you can promote your nervous system to be safeguarded, to protect the vital nerve, and, be good overall. So remember to prioritize neck strengthening exercises every single day. Strengthening the muscles is encouraged because we are trying to create so when it comes, okay, let's take, for instance, when it comes to doing the splits, splitting your legs, that's a level of flexibility that is awesome. We love it. We're good on that here. If you're flexible, that's a win. But if you're really flexible with your neck, that's a lose. That's bad. Being like, oh, I love it when I can stretch my neck as far to the left as I possibly can. It's not good. So by strengthening the muscles in your neck, you actually create less movement of the neck in all directions, and that acts as a buffer when it comes to whiplash or tripping and falling, and it will protect you from nerve severance in your neck because you actually don't want extreme range of motion in your neck. Trust me, you don't. So neck strengthening should be used often, every 2 to 3 days. You should be consuming omega-3 oils through fish oil, avocado, walnuts, flaxseed, any kind of thing should do. And then actively reduce stress levels to prevent potential damage to the vagus nerve. Cortisol, that stress chemical that starts to pump out when you panic, is going to eat away at the nerve itself. Cortisol is a neurotoxin. I'll tell you a story. When I was a young boy, my mom and her friends took me up to a mountain in Oregon State, right? And let me just be clear, because I know we've got people from the other part of the country. The name of the state is Oregon. 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 Say it with me. Oregon. If I hear one more time that someone calls the state Oregon, Oregon, are you kidding me? No, it's not called Oregon. It's Oregon. 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 Don't say Oregon. I'm going to be so pissed if I hear someone say Oregon. Like, geez, Louise. I'm born there. I lived there most of my life, okay? I don't live there anymore, but that's how you pronounce it. Oregon. 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 Okay? Kind of like, it's like Oregon. Oregon. That's how you say it. Anyway, so I was on this little trip with my mom and her friends, and there was a salmon perch at the very, very top of this mountain. And this is where the salmon spawn. This is where the salmon run up creek all summer long just to be able to have babies and reproduce. Now, if you're a salmon, it takes like 2 to 3 weeks of constantly swimming in the water to be able to get up to the top of the river. If you've ever seen those videos of brown bears swiping at water in the mountains to grab fish, that's part of the process that you're seeing. These salmon have to swim and jump all the way up little falls in order to get back to the place where they were born, so that they can mate and lay eggs and create babies for the next generation. Now, that whole process depends on cortisol. Cortisol, the hormone, gives you almost superhuman ability, where those salmon are fueled by cortisol for 2-3 weeks at a time. And so they can do superhuman feats. They're swimming constantly against the water without sleeping. It's hormone cortisol all the way, baby. But I got to see at the very top, once they've landed, once they've had the babies, what then happens to them. And here's what I saw. I saw a bit of water about yay deep, about 2 or 3 feet deep. And you could see the salmon, big ass salmon, just kind of slowly doing this. The water was really slow. This is like the exact perfect place that you want to go. But I didn't expect to see what I did see. And what I saw were salmon where entire sides of their scales had fallen off. And you could literally see the meat through their skin. And some of them looked just like their faces were melting off. And I was like, Mommy, what's happening? And he's like, oh, they're all dying. And I learned later on that what cortisol gives, it also takes big time. So that much cortisol in your body is like a suicide pact. You're saying, I'll take the energy, but the damage done can sometimes be permanent. So if you're the type of person who's driven by stress, who allows yourself to have panic attacks because it lets you get by another day, just think of the salmon. The salmon, once they get to the very top of the river and they spawn and they've had cortisol through their body for weeks at a time, literally their body falls apart while they're still alive. That's not a death that I would like for anybody to have. So when it comes to cortisol, you need to take this part of stress management very seriously. This is where things like vagus nerve stimulation can work way better than allowing yourself to get stressed. Having things that you do to deal with stress can make all the difference in the long run. So if you or someone else that you know seems to be having a hard time dealing with stress, then I would highly recommend that you seek out some form of vagus nerve stimulation. Stimulating your vagus nerve can oftentimes let you calm down, rest, and digest. Some of the best sleep you might ever have in your life could come from vagus nerve stimulation. If you haven't had good sleep in a long time, then now might be a good time to look into vagus nerve stimulation. Because again, one of the things that got those salmon was not sleeping for 2 or 3 weeks at all, constantly exercising, constantly being in stress. So we don't have to do that. We're humans. We're way past that kind of stress requirement. So anything you can do to calm yourself down, to relax, that's effective and safe, is good. Notice I made a point about Xanax and benzodiazepines, Klonopin. These things may in your mind be like, wow, they work so good. They don't work so good, you guys. Again, that'd be like the salmon being like, that'd be like the salmon saying day one, man, I love this cortisol. And then a human looking at that salmon and saying, hey dude, no, you don't want that. You don't need that. It's going to eat your body up. And they're like, no man, you don't get it. It helps. I need it. I'm like, dude, you are building your own, you are digging your own literal grave in your body by taking that kind of stuff. Okay. So now is the time to start finding alternatives. If Xanax and these kinds of drugs are part of your thing, or you're just not finding things that work, vagus nerve stimulation could be fantastic. Now you have 2 options really. One is selecting between electrical vagus nerve stimulation or with sonication of the vagus nerve. Electrical stimulation will stimulate your vagus nerve. Sonication will sonicate your vagus nerve. So you really have to determine which direction you want to go. Are you going to electrically stimulate your vagus nerve, or are you going to sonicate your vagus nerve, right? And so that's a big decision to be able to make. My recommendation, generally speaking, depending on the indication, is going to be more towards sonication, as sonication of the vagus nerve doesn't only increase or decrease activity, it regulates it, it levels it out, it makes it work better. Whereas electrical stimulation, it's right there in the name. Electrical stimulation of the vagus nerve only makes the nerve levels go up. There's no option, and you can deplete a nerve really fast if you're electrically stimulating it. So I find that sonication, just sonicating, okay? Sonication all the way, baby. When it comes to your vagus nerve, you should be sonicating it, not electrically stimulating it. But again, you still do have the option. You have the option between the 2. But yeah, start thinking like, do I want to electrically stimulate my vagus nerve, or do I want to start sonicating my vagus nerve? And sleep on it a little bit. Read up more on it. We'll post more information here in the ensuing weeks, and you can make an informed decision between electrical stimulation or with sonication, okay, of the vagus nerve. So good. So yeah, that's it, you guys, right? Protecting your vagus nerve is one of the highest things that you should prioritize in your life. You should do that by strengthening your neck, strengthening the muscles in your neck, eating omega-3 oils, sonication. Yeah, it's Lori, it's sonication. Sonication. Sound stimulation of the vagus nerve. High frequency sound stimulation. Well, again, I should be clear. It's not stimulation, it's sonication. We're not doing stimulation of the vagus nerve in the program. We're doing sonication. We're sonicating the vagus nerve. If you go and buy a device like a TENS unit, and you're kind of accidentally clipping electricity to your ear, you are electrically stimulating your vagus nerve. But that's electrical stimulation, and that's completely different. That's completely separate from sonication of the vagus nerve. So like I'm saying, again, keeping your vagus nerve healthy and happy and modulated and keeping it regular is super important. We all know that. And on the market today, there's 2 options. One, electrically stimulate the vagus nerve. That's like through TENS units or Gamma Core, Truvaga, Hulist, Alpha Stim. You can go that route and you can electrically stimulate, which is going to increase vagus nerve activity. And some of you guys may actually have an overstimulated vagus nerve. So it doesn't make any sense to stimulate a nerve that's already overstimulated, right? That would be dumb. But they're not telling you to avoid that. They just want to sell you the product. So in these cases, specific rare cases, in a lot of cases, you would actually do way better to sonicate the nerve. Not to electrically stimulate the nerve. You want to sonicate. Sonicate is more gentle. Sonicate regulates the activity. For instance, we had a client of ours who had really bad issues from Lyme disease, and he wasn't able to open up his detox pathways, wasn't able to sweat for years. This is super affecting his body. We're proud to announce that he just started sweating after only 3 months of sonication using our specific protocol through our program. So let's give him a big round of applause, right? We've got a client who just opened up his detox pathways, you guys. He has Lyme disease. It's really severe. We always knew that sonication of the vagus nerve would be the better route to go. The reason he joined our program to sonicate the vagus nerve was because he actually did more damage with electrical stimulation than he had ever done with any drugs or chemicals before. So yeah, again, but in his case, it was probably a matter of overstimulated vagus nerve that he was electrically stimulated. Guys, come on, think about it. If you're electrically stimulating your vagus nerve and it's overstimulated, you guys are signing yourself up for some pretty major issues. I mean, it just makes sense. You should be sonicating rather than electrically stimulating. Come on. Come on. God. Don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out. Cool. All right, guys. So thanks so much for watching. Wabam. And like I said, this time of day is absolutely the best time to learn this kind of stuff. If you consistently show up to these videos, you are going to have a more advanced understanding of how the vagus nerve works than all of the doctors in the world combined. Because again, this isn't stuff that they learn. This isn't stuff that they're taught. The vagus nerve is simply one out of many thousands of nerves in their mind, and they're almost equally important. If I had the option to get one cut versus the other, I'd much rather get any number of other nerves cut in my body than the vagus nerve, right? If I had the option, I would definitely, definitely never have my vagus nerve cut. Awesome, Shar. Good, grateful, life-changing. Yeah, let's go. Also, been doing my my hour of power a couple times a day now because I've been having to drive around, and I take this in my car and I put this on and I go like this, hour of power. Amazing. Super good. One of those amazing things. Yeah, exactly, Lori. Just never heard the term. Have a good rest of your day. They're taught to give drugs and treat symptoms. Exactly. Yes, totally true. Totally true. It's just a different kind of way of looking at the body. So yeah, sonication all the way. Also, the reason I didn't go live yesterday is basically the internet failed across the entire region. I couldn't even send a message to Facebook. I couldn't even message any friends to post in the Facebook group to say, hey guys, I'm not going to be able to go live. So it was just down, down, down. Wi-Fi, home internet, LTE. It was only SOS signals on the phones. So we still had power, but we just had no way to do anything. So I was just like, all right, well, okay, well, I'll just go live tomorrow if it gets restored. So we're back. But yeah, I have no idea what happened. It was just bad weather. I don't know. It was just very weird. So anyway, all right, guys. So thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Same time, same place. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy your Sunday, and get ready for the week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.